He was banned. He told me, I cannot get a job in this administration because I didn't show enough fealty. That terrifies the fuck out of me. That's such mafioso shit. That's not how you get good governance. That's how you get nepotism.
What are you talking about though? Like Matt, like you say a comment like that, you got to look at it on the other side as well. You just talked about on the Biden side. You know, we opened up the meeting with saying, how come they haven't had you on media since 3-4 months ago?
Because they don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah. So this isn't loyalty is expected from both sides. I mean, don't get it twisted. This is not like
awful.
Patrick Bet David brought on this never Trumper onto his podcast, the PBD Podcast, and absolutely annihilated him in a debate that got really, really heated here. He's a former CIA official, and Patrick Bet David and his crew here absolutely bodied him. Let's get into this clip here where Patrick Bet David destroys this never Trumper, former CIA official, and things get very heated here on the PBD Podcast and the Valuetainment YouTube channel.
And they haven't seemed to figure that out yet. There's a sizable portion of people like me who, if Trump runs again, I'm not going to vote for Biden. I'm not going to vote for Trump. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. They have unified government.
This is why I think it's so important DeSantis runs, man.
They have unified government, and yet they can't seem to accomplish anything. And you're right. They don't seem to be a party that cares about the average American worker anymore. And I think that's honestly why one of the biggest reasons why Hillary was a terrible candidate to run in the first place, considering where she was politically in terms of how the American people saw her.
Agreed, but I agree with you. She had active disdain for the plebeian.
And that's the thing about it, right? Is Trump appealed to a bunch of people who feel like they've been left behind, that they've been abandoned, right? That nobody has their back.
Because they have been.
Right. They have been. And I don't know if there is a party in this country that speaks to those people anymore. I really don't. I don't think the Republican Party, by the way, is a party anymore. I think it's a cult. It's a cult of personality. When friends of mine like Adam
Kinzinger, common enemy.
When friends of mine like Adam Kinzinger and Pete Meyer.
Look, I don't completely disagree with this. I do think that there's a portion of the Republican Party that is more cult-like than it should be. You know, no matter, like, dude, let's be real. Donald Trump, yeah, he's a Republican candidate, but he's one of the more liberal Republican candidates ever, at least in my lifetime, right? Like, he's one of the more liberal Republican candidates or Republican presidents ever. You know, like when you talk to him about the abortion topic, where he's like, I will never sign off on a national abortion ban, you know, and then super, you know, anti-war. Like, let's be real. That might have been a Republican talking point whenever they're running for president, but being in the presidency, Republicans have not really been anti-war. You know, so he is liberal, and yet these Republicans and quote unquote conservatives will defend him in every single thing that he stands for. It's like, I think he's good. He's a whole lot better than the alternative for sure, but he's not perfect. And there's so many people in the Republican, you know, side that will act as if Donald Trump is just this perfect human and he can do no wrong. But with that being said, there's a portion of the right wing that does that, but the entire left wing is a complete cult, and it's not a cult of personality. They don't have any personality. There is no personality for them to follow. They elected an empty vessel of a human being. They're a cult of just lies. They just believe lies, and they wholeheartedly believe them and try to perpetuate them. And not just believe them, but they pass legislation based on lies, based on complete lies. So yeah, there might be a portion of the right wing that's a cult, but the entire left wing is a cult. So what choice are you going to make here?
Don't have a home, right? When they're being when they're being actively primaried, like Adam's a great guy. He's a true American. He's a patriot. He gives a shit about this country, right? Pete Meyer has been a friend of mine for 15 years, right? Pete gives a damn about this country to the point that he got on a plane and flew to Afghanistan in the middle of the evacuation trying to help out, just because he thought as a vet and a member of Congress, he might be able to get people through the gate faster. Like, he took a lot of shit for that, by the way, for what he did, because people called it a political stunt. He was just going over there trying to help out. Like, he's a guy who gives it. These are all people who are being actively targeted because they didn't bend the knee to the dictator. And that's what frightens me about Trump. This idea that if you are, I'll give you my favorite example. One of my business partners is a dyed-in-the-wool Republican. During the 2016 election, he entered the election by bundling cash for Jeb Bush. When Jeb Bush dropped out, he wrote one paper, a national security policy position paper for Lindsey Graham. Because he wrote a position for Graham in the primary, the Trump world deemed him not politically allegiant enough to ever serve in the Trump White House. He was banned. He told me, I cannot get a job in this administration because I didn't show enough fealty. That terrifies the fuck out of me. That's such mafioso shit. That's not how you get good governance. That's how you get nepotism.
What are you talking about though? Like Matt, like you say a comment like that, you got to look at it on the other side as well. You just talked about on the Biden side. You know, we opened up the meeting with saying, how come they haven't had you on media since 3-4 months ago?
Because they don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah. So this isn't loyalty is expected from both sides. I mean, don't get it twisted. This is not like
awful.
I don't disagree that it's awful, but loyalty is expected from both sides. You can't just look at it from the one side to the other side. So
no, I listen. I'm not here to listen. I'm just bringing up. I bring up Trump because I personally hate the guy. Okay, and I think he is honestly the biggest threat to this country's long-term survivability. I know that you guys might be.
Dude, these people are just so insane, man. Like Patrick Bet-David is sitting across from him, and he's trying to stay as calm as possible. He's doing better than I would, but man, these people, like I just can't deal with them anymore. Like these people who just lose all common sense as soon as Donald Trump's name gets brought up. And it's not even just left-wingers. It's right-wingers too, as you can see by this guy who says that he's right-wing, but he would never vote for Donald Trump. And like, I can kind of see where the criticisms would come from, where the right wing can be cult-like. And yeah, it's a little weird that if you don't show full, loyalty to Donald Trump, that you can't be a part of his administration. But like, is it really that weird? And is it weird enough to where you wouldn't vote for the guy and possibly allow the other side to win? Like, I don't understand it. And it's just weird how this guy, and not just this guy, but so many people, their brains just absolutely break whenever Donald Trump's name gets brought up. And I can't deal with these people anymore. Patrick Bet-David is going to do way better than me and actually just dismantle this guy's arguments. But I can't deal with them, man. It's pointless because like I said, all common sense goes out the window. All sense of reality is just gone. How can you have a conversation and an argument or debate with someone who just can't accept reality because Donald Trump's name gets brought up? It's just sad.
Fans, but that man is.
No, I'm not a Trump fan.
I'll put it in 2017. I'll show you the notes. You can take a look at what does that say? What date is on that?
January 1817.
January 18, 2017. These are notes that I wrote 2 days before he took office. It's entitled How They Take Over, or If I Were Putin, Here's How I'd Take Over. The guy is a Russian asset. And I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm telling you this is someone who used to. No, I worked.
The Steele dossier?
It's not the Steele. Listen, it's his behavior. Why is it that he meets with Putin one-on-one without translators in the room and we never get a transcript from it? Why? Because he's checking in with his fucking handler. All right? I used to do this for a living. You don't think I can look and see? You don't think I can look across the table and see somebody that I would have recruited? He's a fucking.
You lost me there, bro. You lost me there.
Hold on. Explain why. Yeah. Explain why.
All right. So the Russian playbook is all about what's called disinformation, compromise.
Sure.
Compromising.
I had
information.
Jack Barsky on 2 weeks ago. He's a former KGB. I'm fully aware of what you're talking about.
So look at how Trump then engaged with the American people. Anytime he was criticized, it's fake news. He went and targeted people who wouldn't bend the knee. Look who got attacked constantly by Trump world. McCain in particular. They went after John McCain. Why?
Bro, I wish Patrick Bet-David would ask this guy, what is an example of Donald Trump calling something fake news that wasn't disproven? Because, yeah, he does say that all the time, and it doesn't seem very politician-like, but it's true. They lie about him constantly, literally constantly. Including the Trump is a Russian asset lie. Has been disproven over and over and over again. And this guy's still on Patrick Bet-David's podcast saying to his face, Trump is a Russian asset. It's a lie. It's not true.
Because he was the only member of the party with enough clout that might be able to push back on his cult of personality. So what do? They try to go after his legacy. They try to go after and get compromising information to him. Why is it that Lindsey Graham flips like this? Lindsey flips like this because Lindsey is gayer than the day is long, and he's afraid that if that comes out in South Carolina, he doesn't get reelected. That's why he suddenly goes from being John McCain's best friend. I remembered them when they were. I used to hang out with these people. I saw them. They were dear friends.
You're dropping some absolute bombs right
and
now.
What
does this have to do with Russia? Go back to the Russia
What I'm telling
topic.
you is that, so
make your point on Russia. That's what I'm curious.
Trump is trained to act like a Russian asset would. He's trained to take over power in the way a Russian asset, if they were in place, would. Look at what he's gotten us to do. In 4 years, we all now yell at each other. We don't trust anything.
That was Obama's second term that started.
But we really don't trust it now. He poured jet fuel out of it. Why? If you're an American president, is your job to unite and lead this country and make it better?
Oh my God.
Or is it, hold on, do you feel like you came...
It's impossible to unite a country and make it better at the same time when one side does not accept reality and what should actually make the country better and what has made the country great for the longest time. You know, that's such a stupid statement that a president is supposed to unite the country. Okay, is he supposed to not make the country better in the name of uniting the country? Or is he supposed to make the country better and just ignore the fact that you're not going to have everybody united? You know, like... Screw unity. These people can't accept basic facts of reality, including this guy. So screw unity. Who cares about unity? Just make the country better. Do the things that we know, the adults know, make the country better, and also have made the country great for, you know, as long as it's existed. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this absolute idiot here going on the PBD podcast and spewing all this nonsense and Patrick Bet David just absolutely shutting him down. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Patrick Bet David versus this woke former CIA official going on the PBD podcast and things getting heated in the comments.